What's up, everybody, and welcome into your NFL pregame show. I am Rob Trujillo, joined as always by. I almost said it again. It's like a reaction. This is what you get for not coming up with something else. For
it's not my job to come up with a nickname.
Dave the Redbeard, Dave.
There you go.
Fire
Dirty
Beard
Red.
Dave.
What do they used to call Tyler Matakevich? Dirty Red.
The Amish musket ball.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, it's David Gergen, and here I am.
And Sterls, we're hoping he joins us today. He had to run off last second for something going on, but he was planning on joining us today, and we are hoping that he does, in fact, make it in here at some point. But, hey, we got to get this thing fired up because the Bills have an 11 o'clock game, and that means that we got to get to the bar.
We got to go.
We are fired up and ready to go. It's your NFL pregame show. What was that? I didn't even hear what you said. What did you say?
8 morning games today.
Yeah, like
kind of crazy.
Right. So it's your NFL pregame show. If you've got any questions about your bets, send them. We'll answer them for you. You got any questions about your fantasy teams? Send them. We'll answer them for you. Start them, sit them, survivor picks, whatever. Send it in. We'll talk to you about it. We're your fellas here, so happy to answer any questions that you have on your NFL pregame show. Okay, can I talk to you real quickly before we do get started about what a sick fuck you and everybody else is?
Sure.
What the hell? Why does it need to be light out at 7 o'clock in the morning instead of 5 o'clock in the morning? Like, what is with daylight savings time? I can't stand it every year. I'm going to continue to complain about it. Like, these motherfuckers woke up early and passed some legislation that's like, oh, it's more important that it's light out at 7 o'clock than 5 o'clock at night. How does that make fucking sense? Tell me how that makes sense.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't love daylight savings time. There's no reason to change for me. I'm going to wake up at the same time no matter what. And the worst part is for everyone who's like, oh, well, now you wake up and you feel like, it's light out, so you feel more. No, it doesn't matter. The light's not what's waking me up. It's my brain. So I don't need it. So you can.
There's something to be said for the biological clock. I get it. But, like, does it need to be at 7? Like, we can't have the biological clock start at 7:30 when the sun starts poking out? No.
You want to sleep till noon, brother.
When I wake up at 7:30 in the morning.
You want to sleep till noon. So I don't know if you have a real bone to pick here, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't, like, these motherfuckers woke up early and passed legislation while we were all sleeping, all us late risers. Man, I'm gonna start passing legislation at 2 o'clock in the morning when all you old heads are in bed. God damn it!
You can do it at about 10:30. You don't have to wait till 2.
So angry. It's why sometimes, like, I'll send work emails at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night just to be like, yeah, I was on my computer doing work at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Don't bother me at 6:30 or I'll murder you. So anyway, had to get that off the chest. All right.
You feel better?
Like I said, we're going to get right to it here. A ton of games to pick today. I think when I looked through, I was kind of disenfranchised, to be honest with you, about the entire lineup.
Yeah.
What's that?
Not a lot of great bets today.
Yeah, not a lot of great bets, not a lot of great games. Like, it feels like kind of just a shitty NFL day, which happens sometimes. But we'll go through them all anyway because we're sick fucks, and we're going to put money on each and every single one of them. So let's kick it off. Cowboys-Falcons, first 11 o'clock game of the day. I feel like the Cowboys are reeling a little bit here, and I don't know.
Parsons is out still. You got a bunch of injuries, and they've been terrible kind of all year.
Yeah, as soon as I say that, I've got the ESPN NFL pregame in the background, and it just says despair in Dallas, and it's like last in rushing yards and blah blah blah. Yeah, man. I mean, and like a little bit of it is due to injury, but I think it's a team, and this should say everything that you need to know. I think it's a team that's built the same way as the Las Vegas Raiders. Like they've got a couple really good, and I know I've mentioned this to you before, Dave. They've got a couple really, really good blue chip players. Really good. And then there's no middle class on that roster.
Nothing.
It's just bottom of the barrel after that for everything else.
But this Atlanta team's also, again, it feels like a sputtering engine where you're like waiting for it to take off and start roaring, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
This is in Atlanta, 3-point spread. I don't think Dallas has it in them. So, me personally, I'm taking the Falcons, but I don't feel good about either of these teams. And I know, I think the Falcons have 5 wins right now. Still not doing it for me.
Yeah, the Falcons are strangely one of those. There's always the teams that like I don't believe in, and it takes a long time for me to get around to believing in them. And then the teams that I do believe in, and it takes a long time for me to get off of them. And it feels like the Falcons are the latter. Like, God, they have so many good vets that I just have to believe at some point they're gonna put it together. Their schedule isn't overwhelming as I look down at here. Honestly, Denver might be their toughest game left. At Minnesota. That's it. They're at Denver, at Minnesota. Other than that, I mean, we're talking Dallas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Giants.
No competition, really.
Right. Like they're gonna walk to 10 wins, even if they haven't put it 100% together. And you got to think with guys like Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons and Kirk Cousins that the leadership, that the vets on that team will get it together and they'll come around. So you said you're going Falcons -3 here?
Yeah. I would have loved 2.5. I would have loved 2.5, but Vegas knows what they're doing.
Is the field goal enough to make me take the Cowboys? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I'll take the Falcons. I'll lay the 3 as well. Man, it
doesn't make you feel good.
Elliott not playing today for disciplinary reasons, I think says a lot.
Not even traveling with the team.
Yeah, like I think that is indicative of that room and like, hey, Mike McCarthy, you better try to hold that room together, especially if you have another loss here. This could turn out to be falling apart. All right. Speaking of those Raiders, they head to Cincinnati today. And, while we have talked about Cincinnati throughout the year, we have mentioned that their schedule isn't overwhelmingly tough, which is kind of strange, but it's not. Oh, I got the little ping.
We got the big dog.
We might have our fellow joining us here in just a moment, but so the Bengals rest of their schedule isn't overwhelmingly. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, Sterling. Yeah, he's good. He's just going in. He's just going in.
My favorite people.
Big dog.
We missed you, brother.
On, my man?
Man, it's okay. We had a little moment last week as a family getting through it, but I'm good now.
Glad to have you back, brother.
I mean, I just told the people on the stream here that you were out. You know what I mean? So it could have been for hookers and blow. They got no idea.
That's what we'll call it. That's what we'll call it.
So, Sterl's out. Sterls was questionable this week and out last week with hookers and blow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Game time decision this week.
Yeah. And I just came out of the bathroom. That I did
Lamar that's a different
Jackson.
Kind of blow there.
I did a Lamar Jackson, mid game, carried out on the stretcher, had to come back in.
That real delicate jog.
These are the morning moments that I need the soundboard that radio stations have. Whoa!
See, you miss me. You miss me. That's all it is.
Truth.
I did.
Well, we already.
I didn't. I wasn't aware that I missed you. Dave. Great point. We only went through one game, and I know we've got to fly a little bit here, but
what game did you do?
Just for a second, Cowboys Falcons. Cowboys
Okay.
+3. Give us your thoughts real quick on that one, Sterls.
You're talking about two inconsistent football teams, and it's hard. Looking at this is pretty hard. I mean, you got the Cowboys from a locker room standpoint. It seems like they're in disarray. Just drama after drama, and it's been like that this whole offseason. I think that's really affected their play. I don't think that talking point isn't being mentioned enough. And then you got the Falcons, who are just trying to look good, like trying to be good. You know how like when good teams start to get good and then they kind of just go up and down seesaw? That's kind of what I feel like the Falcons are right now. So if I had to put money on it, I'm going to put money on it right now, actually. I'll take the Cowboys in that one, just because they're not going to lose every game the rest of the season, right? They're gonna beat somebody. And I feel like if you're going to beat
New
somebody,
York Giants in week 17 when they quit or something like that.
So So what's the spread? 3.5 on that?
3.
So we had 3.
But you might have 3.5 on.
I have 3.5. So I'll take the 3.5 dogs here. That's the Cowboys. So I'm gonna bet that one right now.
You are all alone on that one.
I know, right? And that's why I feel like I should do it.
I mean, listen, fading us is never a bad idea. That's what I do with you guys all the time. You both tell me something for sure is going to happen. I fade you, and I still haven't had to put money in the account. You know what I mean?
Well, see, me and Dave do it to get money to be right. You do it for other reasons because you're just an ass sometimes. So
spiteful.
See, you think that, and it's really spiteful. Not what it is,
right, Dave? Wouldn't you agree, Dave?
I hear your terrible ass arguments for why you're betting on somebody, and I'm like, no, that's fucking stupid. And I'm like, I'm gonna bet the other guy. It's not personal. It's got nothing to do with you. I'm just telling you the truth, dog. All right, so then we moved on to Vegas and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I said it before you got on here, Sterls. There are teams that I believe will get it going, and it takes me a long time to get off the train. And I do believe the Bengals will get it going. I think at some point they'll be 500, and we'll be looking at the rest of their season and just kind of say to ourselves, like, yeah, I mean, they're going to make a wild card here. Mental health guy jumps in. I feel like the Cowboys know they're not good enough to meet their preseason expectations. Yeah, I think that was a realization that they had like 3 weeks ago, to be honest with you. And I think they're fighting through how to deal with that, because when your team isn't as good as you expect in the offseason, there is a mental drain there. You know what I mean? Like there's an emotional drain there. And if you don't handle that the right way, you end up with Ezekiel Elliott not traveling with the team, and questions about, is Mike McCarthy going to get fired, and your GM/owner going on radio shows threatening to fire the hosts. So yeah, I think you're right, mental health guy, and I think that's why. I think that's a good example of what happens when it starts to fall apart. To that point, I don't think the Bengals have fallen apart. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It feels like they're going to be able to get a couple wins, get to 500, and just kind of be that team that you don't want to play coming down the stretch.
Also, the Raiders are the exact opposite. They're more like the Cowboys. It looks like it's falling apart. That thing's falling off the tracks real hard. And my only concern is, do I trust the Bengals 7.5 point favorites?
Yeah, that said, their month of November is tough. They're versus Las Vegas, at Baltimore, at the Chargers, and then versus Pittsburgh. But we'll see. I mean, when that team's right, they can beat anybody. And I don't know if they get right this year, but I'm certainly not leaving them against the Raiders. So I'm going to take the Bengals, even though it's 7 and a hook. It's 7.5. I'm going to lay the points. Listen, nobody loves Garner Minshew more than I do, but I just think the Bengals are on a mission to get back to relevancy here, and they're not going to let the Raiders stop them.
Okay. I agree with that. So the Bengals, I don't know if you guys know this, but they have one of the more efficient offenses in the league this year. I think they rank 9th in points. The efficiency rating is through the roof. So they can score. I don't know if the Raiders defensively are going to be able to keep up today. I just think, if you were to, I think they can get them by 2 touchdowns here.
Does Zach Moss being out and not having a consistent run game give you any hesitation for the Bengals right now?
No.
No.
Because Zach Moss don't.
No, it hasn't been. It hasn't been an offensive problem all year.
No.
And the offense has been fine. Save maybe that game against the Patriots to start the season.
Yeah.
Their offense has been fine, and with the amount of weapons that they have, Zach Moss, I get it. He's supposed to be replacing Joe Mixon, but he doesn't worry me at all.
Yeah,
Why,
Chase Brown is a much better back, anyways. To be honest,
Are you going Raiders here? Is that what you're teasing, Dave?
I can't. They're not a good team. They don't even have as many blue chips as they used to. So I'll go Bengals, but that 7.5, 6.5, I'd feel good about that. 7, I'd be okay with a push. 7.5, I don't love it, but I am still going to pick the Bengals because the Raiders are terrible.
All right, well, that's a clean sweep on Bengals minus 7.5, which means the Raiders
are going to win.
Absolutely going to cover.
All right.
So go ahead and fade that right now. All right. Next game is the Chargers and the Browns. And this one, I mean, the spread is a point, and I think that is right on the money. Like, these are two teams who have had very different stories this year, and I think end up at the same freaking spot. The Chargers, it's been about, Harbaugh's turned them around. They're a tough-nosed football team, blah, 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 all this stuff. And it's been a lot of praise for Los Angeles. For the Browns, it has been a disaster of a year. And then all of a sudden, Jameis Winston comes in last week and they beat one of the best teams in football. I think these two teams have taken very different paths to end up essentially at the same spot, which is like, they're both decent football teams. Browns getting a point at home facing the 2-6 Chargers. David, who you got?
I'm actually going to take the Browns. I think last week, for all of the circumstances we talked about last week, and everybody knows about the quarterback situation, Jameis came out. He played a decent game. They did play hard against a really good team. The Chargers are a solid team, but not a great team. I'll take the home dogs.
Strohs?
Oh, I can't go against my guy Harbaugh now. Come on, give me the Chargers. Look, Justin Herbert.
Is he your guy?
Huh?
Is he your guy?
Oh yeah, he's my guy.
He was your guy.
No, he still is my guy.
So for those of you,
he will always be my guy.
For those of you that don't know, Strohs is as big of Big Blue as you can get.
That's it.
He is a Michigan homer, no doubt about it.
Oh, for sure. I don't even hide it, man.
But that being said, he won a championship and had a team coming back this year that was very capable of winning another championship, and instead left you the disaster. What was the score yesterday?
Oh yeah, no, they sucked this year. It's okay,
but they didn't have to. Like if
they
if
didn't.
He had stayed. They're way more relevant.
Oh yeah, they'd be top 5 in the nation, looking for another title.
So how do you call him your guy then?
Hey man, it's a long story, but the AD is at Michigan. Ward Manuel is just awful as an athletic director. Kind of pushed Harbaugh out, so just a power move there. I mean, I'm not, Jim is. You guys know Jim Harbaugh is not the easiest one to work with, but it just unfortunate situation. And he's always kind of wanted to get back to the highest level of coaching and win a Super Bowl, so he felt like the Chargers was his best bet, and he left and took everybody with him. And that's kind of why you see Michigan kind of down right now, is because, I mean, they have everything's new. Offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Jim Harbaugh took everybody, even the freaking athletic trainers. So, it's all good, man. I mean, but Rob, we talked about, it's like, I didn't want Sharon Moore as the head coach. I wanted a known commodity. And so I think, this is the product that you get when you go in-house and think you got the next guy, and it just ain't working out.
Well, so the guy is in Los Angeles now, headed
Yeah.
to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Play the Browns this week, and he has turned that organization around. I mean, the type of ball that they play this year is noticeably different than what they've done the past few years. So who you got? Chargers, Browns here.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers, obviously. And here when doing some digging on this game, Justin Herbert. Okay, he's been a little up and down, but passer rating under pressure is 71.5. He's got a really good big time throw percentage. So I do think with that Browns defense, I mean, if they can get this pass game going, we know they're going to run the ball, right? But if they can start, leveraging more Justin Herbert in these situations, I think they'll be fine. So I think they can win by probably a touchdown today.
Give me the Browns. I don't need the point. I'll take Browns money line here. I think the Browns win this game. I think there is a tangible and real
energy
backup QB bump. We normally call it the fired coach bump, but how about the fired bum bump? Knowing that they don't.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you feel like the betting world has this Jameis Winston hero story in the making, or what? Because I feel like
I think the NFL world has that.
Okay.
I don't think the betting world has that.
Okay.
The betting world says that defense is really freaking good, and if they get competent quarterback play, it's a
dangerous.
much better team than 2-6.
Right.
And so I think that this story goes on for a couple more weeks. They get the Chargers this week. They're at New Orleans next week. I think they get 2 wins there and get to 4-6. And it's the lead story on NFL morning shows is hey, are the Browns back? And then I think they get into the meat of their schedule and just get smacked. But I think for this little stretch here, they're going to be the feel-good story of the league, which is here comes Jameis Winston to save the day, which is fun. So great, good for them. All right, Patriots at Titans. This Patriots team seems to be more game than people give them credit for. Titans with 2 tough ones, man. They played 2 of the best teams in the league the past 2 weeks, get smacked at the Bills. But if you watch that game, they had the Bills on the ropes for the first half. And there were times that felt like they were in it against Detroit, and then all of a sudden you look up at the scoreboard and they're down by 3 touchdowns. So it's an interesting dichotomy for the Titans here, because I don't feel like they're just garbage. Like when you watch the Panthers, they're just garbage. You know what I mean? But I don't feel like the Titans are just garbage, but they are 1-6, and so their record says they are garbage. So Patriots, Titans, who you got here, Cheryl?
Give me the Patriots here. The spread 3 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
3.5 on BetMGM.
It's 3 over here on mine. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots here, man. I think both these teams are pretty identical in terms of they're just trash, right? So it's like, what trash can do you want to take out today? And for me, give me Drake May and these boys. We do know they're gonna be able to run the football. So
is he playing today, Dave? You're the king of the injury.
Yeah, is
report.
he? Questionable. They're likely going to play him. And then you got to think Will Levis is starting for the Tennessee Titans.
Even better.
Put the mayo in the cup, dog. David, who you got here?
Honestly, because Will Levis is starting, I'm going to go with the Patriots.
I can't do it. I can't
really
all bet on the Patriots.
What makes you want the Titans?
Their defense.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, their defense is really, really good. You say that, and then you look at the point total. I think the Lions are just that good.
They are.
Point total from last week is the end of that sentence. I probably should have finished it. You look at how many points the Lions and the Bills have scored on them the last couple of weeks, and you're like, that defense isn't good. No, trust me, the defense is good. Okay, and with guys like Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat on the defensive line. I know Sterl's a big Tavondre Sweat fan, and so am I. So in my head, I think there's only so many chances that the Titans have to win, and a home game against the Patriots is going to be one of them. I think an NFL team says, like, I don't want to lose every game for the rest of the damn season, and looks at this as an opportunity, like, hey, we can get right. We can play a game here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to bet on kind of we don't want to get our ass kicked 3 weeks in a row, and we're still an NFL caliber team. And I'm going to take the Patriots or the Titans to beat the Patriots. I would even take the money line here. It's -3.5. Ooh.
Yeah. So okay. So if you were to take the money line, the Titans are favored. I mean, 66% favored on the money line.
No, that's for cowards. I'll lay the 3.5. I think they beat them. But they might not cover. But I'll lay the 3.5 anyway. All right, Washington at the Giants. Two polar opposites for this season. The Commanders are absolutely the feel-good story of the NFL. People talking about Jaden Daniels in terms of, can he be an MVP? Not NFL Rookie of the Year. Like, can he be an MVP? And I mean, if the back half of his season replicates the first half of his season, he absolutely can.
Yeah.
That being said, that's not how it works when you got a rookie under center. How it works is you get 6 games worth of tape, 4 to 6 games worth of tape, and all of a sudden they start to struggle. And what ended up happening last week? He struggled. He couldn't put up points, had to win it with a Hail Mary. You're going to have games like that. You're going to need to do that. You're going to need some luck from time to time. But I just think maybe the NFL has caught up with him a little bit, in the back half of his year is going to be more of a struggle than he had for the first half of his year. Giants, on the other hand, 2-6. I mean, a complete and utter disaster in the making. And it's their own fault for saying Daniel Jones is our guy here. Don't get me wrong. Malik Neighbors is an absolute dog, but you've got to find a way to turn that pick into a quarterback. And instead, they are 2-6 and likely to have a whole bunch of firings in New York before the end of the season. So, David, who you got? Commanders -4 on the road versus the Giants.
Last week was the first week I even wavered a little bit on the Commanders, and that's because Jaden Daniels was questionable. Once I found out he was playing, that bet changed for me, and I actually did change that bet. The Giants have nothing to show me that they haven't shown me all season and even parts of last season. So I'm taking the Commanders. I'll lay the 4 points. I just think even though they may have figured out Daniels a little bit at quarterback, I think overall talent and the kind of energy and emotion that the Commanders are bringing right now, you're not getting that from the Giants. So give me the Commanders -4.
Sterls?
I agree on that. Commanders -4. Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's killing it, dude. Passer rating when clean, 105.2. Like, and their offensive line has been playing pretty well. So I think they're going to blow them out today, to be honest.
The Giants can't get blown out every week, right?
Well,
they can't. They can't get blown out every week.
You want a silver lining? Is that the Giants have one of the best. They're one of the best pressure teams in the league, so they're going to get to you. Now they don't necessarily finish, but they're going to apply pressure. So can Daniels, with pressure in his face, make good decisions? We'll see.
That's a really interesting point here, Stills, because I do feel like all these teams we've talked about how bad they are. We also talk about them having good lines still. And the defensive line for the Giants is really good. The defensive line for the Titans is really good. The defensive line for the Browns is pretty good. Defensive line for the Bengals is pretty good. And all these teams are still bad. It makes you wonder if people are putting too much of an emphasis on creating pressure and getting to the quarterback. And you kind of look at that and say, that is something that you need when your team is successful. When you
Okay,
have the
right,
lead, when
right.
you're a good football team, you have to spend money on the defensive line. But when you're building a team, it probably should be further down the list of things that you're spending picks on is getting Brian Burns from Carolina. You know what I mean?
Right.
If
That's a fantastic point. That's a
if
fantastic point.
it feels like some of those Jerry Hughes years in Buffalo where we got huge pressure rates, but not sacks, not turnovers, not doing well on
But it's
defense on third down, where you've got people, you've got pressure. It's just not converting into sacks and that not pushing that team forward.
but why? And the answer to me is because you're not in the lead. So there's not known
Right.
pass rushing situations, right? Like the whole idea is if you're up by 2 touchdowns and you know they have to throw the ball, you're going to eat. And
Right.
that's great. Like the Giants defensive line on the Bills would be absolutely tearing that ass up. But instead,
True.
they're constantly behind, and it just makes it so the offense can play this, are we going to run? Are we going to pass game? And it
Right.
makes you less effective. So I don't know. It's just interesting. It's like the third or fourth time today I've said they've got a really
Well-
good defensive line, but the team is still garbage.
So here's something for you. So the Commanders, and I don't put a lot of stock in this, but I think it's relevant today. The Commanders have the strength of schedule, they're ranked 28th. So they really, I mean, NFL wise, they really haven't had a tough schedule, where the Giants rank 11th, right? And the problem with the Giants is I think that they don't rely enough on the run game. They're Dayball, it seems like he's trying to make Daniel Jones this passer that he's not. Their splits on run pass is 64.2%. Like that needs to be in the 50s. So you look at Washington with a rookie quarterback, they're hovering around 56-57% pass percentage and 40% run. So it's a very balanced attack here. So
You know what that says to me?
what's that?
That says, hey, listen, we needed to figure out if Daniel Jones is the guy or not, and we needed to know this year. So I'm handing him the same game plan I would have handed Josh Allen. And if he can't do it,
Did you
We're gonna
need
lose
this
it.
year to figure
Yeah.
that out, to know that? Because I don't think you did.
I mean, did you watch the offseason Hard Knocks? Apparently
Yeah.
they did.
God.
They
That's
also
crazy.
didn't. I mean, they didn't really have a choice. They paid him too much. Nobody's going to trade for him. So you have to say, look,
That's not true anymore. That's not true anymore. That's not true. They cut Russell Wilson for an $85 million dead cap. Like you can eat that dead cap and cut Daniel Jones. Like you would have been fine. He also could have just been your backup. Like you could have drafted Drake May and he could have just been your $40 million backup.
So a terrible year this year means he will be the backup next year
Well,
if they
I
don't
don't even know.
outright cut him.
He ain't gonna be on the team next year.
yeah, he ain't gonna be on the team next year. But so this was something that had come up on. I would do radio here in Denver, and this is something that had come up on my radio station in Denver. You think the Sanders family ain't eyeing what's happening in New York, saying, "Let me start counting my money."
I'll go to a big
Like,
big market team and get all of the press.
oh,
Man.
you know they're gonna try to manipulate who he goes to. There's a reason that he came out this week and said if he gets a $10 million NIL deal, he'll go back to CU. But Shador and Coach Sanders there gonna spend a lot of time manipulating it so he doesn't get drafted by the Carolina Panthers. Instead, he gets drafted by the New York City Giants.
Back that up a second. So who said that? Travis?
Shador.
He still has your eligibility?
He still has eligibility.
Oh.
And he said he would stay in Boulder for another year for, I think he said, a $10 million NIL deal.
And to avoid being drafted by the Carolina Panthers.
That's the undertone of what he was saying. The undertone of it is, I'm going to look and see who the top pick in the draft is. And like Raiders, maybe, Giants, definitely, Panthers, no way, Titans, no way. You know what I mean?
That's huge if true. That is huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I think Sanders is gonna go to a guy like Lil Wayne or The Rock or something like that, one of his buddies, Snoop Dogg, and say, hey, can I get a $10 million NIL deal for my son? Because we don't want him to go to the Panthers and this is why we put this out, and we want it to look like, oh, well, it's just they're paying him to stay in school, so why would he take the NFL deal when really he just wants to avoid whoever's at the top of the draft?
So that means Travis will stay too then, right?
No, I don't think Travis
No.
has eligibility. I think Travis is a year older, and I think if you're going to go top 5, I
You
think
go
you
top
just go.
5. Yeah.
I mean, Shador, like quarterbacks, you can play that game a little bit. I don't think Travis plays that game.
Okay. That'd be
Do
nice
you?
if they both came back. I don't know, man. I think just because the influence that, Sanders, Dion has with Travis and Shador, I mean, that's like their son, right? So I think if Shador comes back, I think if Travis has eligibility, I think he'd come back.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll
It'd
be
be nice for us. It'd be nice for us. I love it.
I mean, it makes it more fun around here, no doubt.
Yep.
All right. Saints and Panthers. Saints laying a touchdown. Now, Carr was reported to be back for this game and said the absolute last thing I want my quarterback to say. I'm not a savior, is what he said.
Oh, buddy. Well, we know that.
Yeah, that's not how I want my quarterback acting walking in there. You got to be fucking kidding me. Saints laying 7 points going to the Panthers. Listen, the Panthers are awful, but the vibes in New Orleans are weird to me. And like I said, these are NFL teams. They're not going to lose every game. So give me the touchdown dog at home. And that's about all the analysis I have for you on this game.
Rob picking the Panthers this year.
I know. It's the second week in
Yeah.
a row I've picked the Panthers, and it absolutely burned me last week.
I'm going to take the Saints here because if Derek Carr is playing, he's much better than Spencer Rattler, and that's not even a question. So, and I think they could beat him by a touchdown with Derek Carr playing quarterback.
Yeah, but the rest of that, never mind.
And no, the rest of the team is garbage. It's straight garbage.
I'm not even gonna make a case for it. There's no point.
But here's the thing though. Do you really want to put your eggs in the basket with the Panthers? That's the thing. Like they're just awful.
It is, and I said this about the Titans, I think. Like, it is the point in the season where these vets are looking at this saying there are 2 or 3 spots left this year where we can win a game and not hate ourselves for a week. And I think this is one of those moments for the Panthers. Like, there are maybe 2 or 3 games they have a chance to win. 2 or 3 games they won't be double-digit underdogs the rest of the season, and this is one of them. If you can't come out and give inspired effort here, then forget about it. David?
I don't think they can give inspired effort. Yes, this is a beatable New Orleans team, but I can't pick the Panthers. Terrible top to bottom, left to right, midway, down the center, just garbage. So I'm going with the Saints.
Right.
I don't love it, but I'm going with the Saints.
Let's get to a more fun game to talk about.
Thank
Broncos, God. Ravens. What if I told you in the offseason that coming into this game, the Broncos would be the higher playoff seed than the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, bring it. I want all of that. Give me
Broncos
all of that.
are the 5th seed. Ravens are the 6th seed. They are tied in record, both 5-3. And I think the general consensus is that the Ravens are a much better team. I do think the Ravens are a better team, but a much better team. This
Way
could
better
be one of those
offensively.
moments where a team is good before you know a team is good. And this Broncos defense has been really good. Sturls, you've been throwing out the numbers all morning. You're talking about pressure rates. You're talking about QB sacks, QB hits, all that kind of stuff. How about those Denver Broncos and that no-name defensive line? Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, DJ Moore. Like, these guys, they have played really, really good football. Now you have to tackle a 300-pound monster and Lamar Jackson in that backfield, one of the best offenses in the NFL. Tops in yards, tops in rushing yards, top 5 in passing yards, who just added another weapon, Deontay Johnson, who I know both of you wanted on the Buffalo Bills. So
they added him for free. They basically gave him
essentially
some pocket lint and said, "Hey, we'll take him."
a pick swap. So David, who you got here?
Obviously, I feel like the Ravens are going to win this game. I think it's actually going to be a good deal closer than people think. That 9.5 points is a little crazy to me based on how good this Broncos defense has played. Obviously, it's the Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and take the Broncos plus 9.5. I wouldn't take a Broncos win. I don't think I'd put the money line on that one, but it wouldn't surprise me if they sneak something out. Though I don't think the Ravens are going to drop 2 games in a row, especially after what happened last week. Embarrassing.
Sterls?
The Broncos are 9-2 versus 9-2? No, they are 7 they got 8 games against the spread this year. They look good.
Make them 8-0 against the spread.
Yeah, they're hitting their numbers this year. So I do think that the only thing that I'm worried about is, can the offense just be average today? If the offense can be average today and that defense plays the way it has been playing, I think they can beat the Ravens, to be honest. The Ravens, I mean, they're a wagon for sure, but we're starting to see some flaws and some kinks in the armor. So give me on my betting app, it's 9 points. So I'll take the Broncos plus 9 on this one. Easy.
Yeah, and I got 9 on BetMGM too. It must have moved from when you got it, David.
Which was right before the show, so half point already changed. So
yeah. So here's what I'll say. That means that the smart money's coming in on the Broncos if it already moved a half point in that amount of time. Here's what I'll say. Broncos defense, great. Ravens offense, great. And those two things, let's just assume they cancel each other out. So what are you going to need if you can't win with your strength if you're the Broncos? You're going to need to win in a different phase of the game.
Right.
And that means that either you're betting that the Broncos are going to have some special teams luck and win special teams, which I don't think is going to happen, or you're betting on Bo Nix and that offense to be better than that Ravens defense. And I think that's a tall task. I really do. I think this Broncos team is good. I like them. I don't necessarily, this isn't a knock on the Broncos. In fact, they're going to play the Chiefs next week, and I think I am going to be the one making an impassioned argument about how they can win that game. Mm-hmm. But for this week, I think this isn't the best matchup for them. Of all the good teams they could have played, I feel like this is not a team that, you would have wanted this matchup. So I'll take the Ravens. Really? I'll lay the 9 points.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Well, I mean, hold on though, because I do feel like when we talk about defensive line play, the Broncos defensive line is really good. So I do think that they're going to be able to limit the Ravens on the ground and make Lamar beat them with his arm, right? And so I think that's what has me picking the Broncos plus 9. So I mean, that's crazy that you would, man, you don't have no faith in the Broncos, huh?
First of all, I don't think Lamar gets enough credit for his arm.
No, he doesn't. But let's not pretend that he's just like all world here.
No, but the people who say he's a running back piss me off.
I don't. No, I don't subscribe to that.
He's a good NFL quarterback who's got 2 weapons that the Broncos have struggled with for a decade. Mm-hmm. They have always had trouble covering tight ends, and it is going to be real difficult for them, I think, to cover the tight ends in this game. They lost Alex Singleton. So the other thing that concerns me is, yes, their defensive line is very good, but behind it, you don't have a whole lot. Yeah. Cody Barton has played well this year. He was an offseason free agent pickup from I almost said it, from the Commanders. And he has played really well this year, but is not considered like a great linebacker. And so even though that defensive line, I think, will hold up pretty well against the run, Derrick Henry takes more than one guy to tackle. Okay. True. Like, you are not even Zach Allen, even John Franklin Myers, like, you are just not getting him to the ground by yourself. So it's going to be interesting. It is going to be a really interesting game to watch. The Broncos can make a statement without winning this game to the rest of the NFL. Also, right. And I kind of mentioned it on the radio show I did, Nance, Romo, national TV game to the rest of the league. And listen, man, that matters to these players. There's more cameras, there's more reporters. Like the game feels different when you're that featured game than when you're the fifth crew or whatever. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these Broncos respond to being in the prime viewing window.
Yeah, I think, and we can move on after this. I'll make this final point, but the Ravens, you talk about simulated pressures. The Ravens, man, they throw a lot of that at you. So I think this will be a good test for the Broncos rookie quarterback to see how well he is, pre to post snap. I'm so curious to see how that works out today.
Yes, you're right. Zach Orr running that defense now, but they lost a bunch of coaches. But they are trying to run the same defense that they had when Mike McDonald was there, and Zach Orr is not the same defensive coordinator as Mike McDonald. Now, that doesn't mean over time he can't, get to be as good. It's just to say that defense is not quite the same as it was.
Still good. Still good, though.
Still good. Still good. All right, last 11 o'clock game. The 2-5 Dolphins head to Orchard Park to play the Buffalo Bills, who are 6-2. I think the first thing I just want to say about this Bills team is that they have had 3 home games. We are halfway through their schedule, and they have had 3 home games. So, listen, it's kind of weird because with the unbalanced schedule where they have more road games than home games this year, they still don't really have a stretch of a whole bunch of home games. But 3 of their next 4 are at home. There's a bye in there as well. It's kind of a spot for them to like be at home, rest up, and try to get a couple wins here. Problem is, in that run, you also get Kansas City and San Francisco. Good luck.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll take it 1 week at a time, though, and we'll start with the Dolphins coming to town. An interesting position for the Bills because you can literally win the NFC East. I shouldn't say literally. You can figuratively win the AFC East today with a win over the Dolphins. Tua back, looked okay, but he's a rhythm and timing kind of guy. And after having missed over a month, it's tough to come back and look great. I thought he looked okay. I thought he looked pretty good. Dolphins getting 6 points headed up north. Sterls, who you got?
Oh, man, give me the Bills. Give me the freaking Bills. And I'm not just saying it to be a homer, but here's a question I'm going to ask to you guys. Who's covering Keon Coleman today?
Not Cater Kohu.
Not Cater Kohu.
No,
not Jordan Poyer.
Not Jordan Poyer.
I think they put Jalen Ramsey on.
Nope. Jalen Ramsey is gonna take our other wide receiver one.
I don't think
he's gonna take Amari or Khalil Shakir.
Do we have inactives yet? We should have inactives.
I heard a little whisper that he's playing today.
Okay.
So if you've got Amari, you've got Khalil, and you've got Coleman, plus you've got the tight ends. Zach Sealer's out for the Dolphins. That's a huge loss to a roster and a pass rush for the Dolphins that's already missing Jalen Phillips, already missing Bradley Chubb. Cater Kohu's out, their slot corner. The Bills, for the first time this year, it feels like are getting healthier, and most people are playing. And the Dolphins are the exact opposite. They're coming down where what remaining stars they have on defense are out. Yes, last week you saw Tua come back, that slide. Everybody, I feel like the Dolphins cheered more for the slide on that, 25-yard Tua scramble than they did for their team the entire, first 7-8 games of the year. It was bad. I think they can still score points. I just think their defense isn't going to be able to hold us, and we get Von Miller back. We've got our linebackers ready to play, so I think we're in good shape for a Bills win here.
And just so real quick, Kendall Fuller is going to be covering Keon Coleman, and I think that matchup favors Keon very well. So
you think the rookie can have 3 big games in a row?
It's don't look at it as a big game. Look at it as it's by default today. I mean, I'm not saying Kendall Fuller is a horrible corner, but just the size matchup alone.
Sounds like you're saying Kendall Fuller.
Well, I mean, come on, man. Like, let's be honest here. Like, if Jalen Ramsey's covering Keon, different story. But he played, I think,
But what about
25. Hold on, he played 25% of his snaps in the slot last week. And that's because, they moved Marvin Harrison around. So they know that they have a deficiency at the middle of their defense. And there's no Javon Holland today. So I don't think that they're going to be able to cover Keon with Jalen.
That to me points to Khalil Shakir game, not a Keon Coleman game.
No, I'm telling you, dude, watch. You're going to see it.
So let me just throw one more thing out at you in terms of that. I think if you're the Dolphins, you go with a Belichickian move here.
What's that?
Where you put your best corner on their second best guy.
Okay.
Which is Keon Coleman.
And then bracket the number one?
Bracket Amari Cooper.
But then you are talking about a Khalil Shakir game or a Dawson Knox game
That's why I'm saying, like, to me, it lends itself more to being a Khalil Shakir game because I think Keon Coleman, as good as he has been, and there has been a lot of technical tactician type stuff that he has done well. But what he has really done well is use his size and athletic ability to his advantage. So what do I want to do? I want to put Jalen Ramsey on him to help quell that a little bit. And then I'll take my chances with Amari Cooper bracketed.
With Kendall Fuller and Jordan Poyer?
Probably, yeah.
Nope. It ain't going to work. It's not going to work today. I'm telling you.
Okay. All right. It's going to make
I'll place a bet with you personally. Keon Coleman over under yards.
What is it?
No, I want you to give me a number.
I don't want to do that.
No, come on. We can
look at the Vegas.
You talking big over there? You talking big shit over there. Come on, give me a number.
75.
I'll look at the Vegas number.
No. Rob, you give me a number.
I'm not giving you a number.
I'm just telling you. Look. Keon, his release package. Have you watched? I mean, you guys watch all 22, but man, the improvement week to week. How he's getting off the line, man, it's real. It's beautiful.
You can tell.
It's beautiful.
So what I've heard about him is that he is a sponge. Like he wants to sit there and talk ball with anybody who will sit there and talk ball with him. And you can see, I think, his maturity and growth in taking in some of that information in what you're saying, like his releases and stuff like that. Like,
I don't know. I would say if I had to pick a number, I don't know what it is on the betting apps, but I would say over 60 yards today. I would take the over.
Yeah, I don't know if
you're making me do this.
I don't know if that counts as a big game.
Right.
Well, 75 and a touchdown. Now you can talk about it.
I mean, I think
I'd take the over on 60 because he could have
I'll take
one.
the over on that. I'm just not. I mean, I'm just saying that's probably what the betting books
are. He's not even on the list.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Give me 75 and a touchdown. Give me 75 and a touchdown for Keon today.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Devon Achane, Jonnu Smith, James Cook, Dawson Knox, Raheem Mostert, Ray Davis. Is he down?
No.
He's not on receptions made or longest reception either.
Are you sure he's not down? Because Ray Davis is on here with over 2.5 receiving yards.
Hey, he better not be. He better not be down today. I'll tell you that.
Well, so that might change your mood there.
No, it's not going to. It's not.
All right, we got to go here. I'm gonna roll the commercial. We'll do the commercial question back on the other side with the afternoon and primetime games as soon as we do this ad here. All right, commercial question. Purely based on me visually seeing Sterls today. See that hat he's got on?
It was a Yankees hat yesterday.
Right. He's got one, David. You're making a joke. He's got one. I know he does.
I got a few.
Right. So I mean this with as much respect as I can give you. Which items, if any, is it okay to wear of a sports team that you don't root for?
With my money, I can do whatever I want.
Okay, that's why, man. The answer to your question can be anything.
And my wife is.
There's no
hold on.
question. There's no question that a Yankees hat turned into a fashion statement instead of I root for that team.
100%.
But you guys have known me for a long time, and you know that I have a ton of different baseball caps, like different teams and etc. So
that doesn't make it okay.
I'm not really vested. I'm not really a vested baseball fan. I don't really care.
Not at all.
So, like, if you caught me with a Steelers hat on, that's okay. Now you should question everything I believe in life. But a baseball, I mean, it's just, for me, it's fashion. I can care less, honestly.
Okay.
I know some of you want to be a traditionalist now. So the Yankees. I don't know.
David, what's your call here? I'm not spending money on teams I don't root for personally. It doesn't move the needle at all for me, but I get it. Like, if you've ever traveled the world, you got people in, Italy wearing the Yankees hat because it is a fashion statement. I'm like, you probably never been to New York. You probably don't really watch baseball. It's
a black thing, bro. Black folks. No, I'm not even being funny. I'm not being funny.
Turn it into a race.
I'm not. Just hear me out. Black people, we wear a lot of different hats, like flat bills, fitteds.
I don't know why you think that's a black person thing,
bro. This is how because we set the culture. What are you talking about?
It's just an East Coast thing. I think that's a very East Coast thing.
Come on, it's more than that. It's more than that.
Well, I mean, I was around a lot of black people living in Queens on the East Coast, so that could have been. It could have been like 6 in one, half dozen in the other. But for me, it was an East Coast thing. The question was, what sports apparel is it okay to buy and wear for teams that you don't root for? And is it jerseys? Is it just hats? Is it whatever? Here's my thing real quick on it. My answer is, I hate people who say that they have more than one favorite team. Hate it. The definition of the word favorite is you like it above all others of the same kind. So you can't have two favorite teams. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if you are wearing apparel and you're like the apparel wearing guy, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. But then you better have a fucking Pittsburgh Pirates hat in there somewhere, dog. I better not just see you with Dodgers and Yankees stuff. Okay,
I got one. I got one.
Pittsburgh Pirates hat.
Yeah,
I do.
You better have
because of yellow. Because of yellow in it.
Yeah,
the black and yellow. I love that. I love that color scheme.
I'm just saying. So
I have a Colorado Rockies jersey as well, the white one, the white and green one, which is dope.
Yeah, so if you're apparel wearing guy, I'm fine with it. And I do
Seattle Mariners.
Any college that I go visit, I buy a thing because I don't have a college team really. I have teams that I pull for more than others, but I don't have a college team.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it as long as you are apparel wearing guy.
Yeah.
I can't see you only in like a Dodgers and a Yankees hat, and you're like, I root for both the teams.
Let me defend myself here too. I don't really I'm a Seattle Mariners fan, but I don't really follow baseball. But you'll never catch me with a different NFL team on. I don't wear NBA apparel, even though I'm a Nuggets fan. I do like the Dallas Mavericks. I don't buy their stuff. But like football, it's Michigan and Bills, and my closet's full of that shit. So,
let's get to these afternoon games.
Yeah, afternoon games. Jaguars at Eagles. Jaguars getting 7.5 points, headed to Philly. Philly, for a team that has, I think, struggled to put it together a little bit. 5-2, and right there, with as much talent as on that roster, unquestionably. I think they can make a little bit of a run here and maybe take down the Commanders for the NFC East, especially when you get to play teams like the Jaguars, Sturls.
Boy. Give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles, man.
You gonna lay 7.5?
Yeah. Dog, the Jaguars, man. They're just so inconsistent. And so I guess, you know what? To be fair, I guess you could say the Eagles are the same way. But Jalen Hurts, I feel like he's playing much better now. So, and they played a really good game last week against the Bengals. So I'm going to ride on that. And so I'll take the Eagles minus 7.5.
David?
Eagles, not a whole lot on the injury report. Dallas Goedert's out. Darius Slay's out, which is a big one. But when you look at Jacksonville, Tank Bigsby, questionable. Ezra Cleveland, their guard, out. Mason Smith, their D tackle, out. Christian Kirk, one of their primary receivers, out. Got to go with the Eagles on this one.
Yeah, I remember I said for a couple of these other games that the teams, maybe this was one of the spots a bad team could finally get a win playing another bad team. This ain't one of them. Like, I feel like Jaguars are going to go in here boots shaking. And I think all that talent on that Philadelphia roster will shine through. So I will also take the Eagles and lay 7.5, which means the Jags are absolutely going to cover today.
Locked in.
Don't say it. Don't say it, man. Don't
It's
say it.
100%.
We need good fortune today, dog.
All right, 2 surprise teams, I think, in the league: Bears and Cardinals. Bears are 4-3 and really should be 5-2. Cardinals 4-4. The question is, how much does losing on a last-second Hail Mary demoralize you? Because, I mean, that team looked dejected walking off the field.
A lot.
It'll be interesting to see how they respond. What was that? What'd you say, Sterls?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
It's demoralizing. That was me. We know it's demoralizing. We've been there. We've seen it. We know how it feels to be like, oh, man, you win.
Yeah, but the Bills bounced back and didn't lose a regular season game the rest of the year that year, David.
That's because we're a better team.
That's true. That's true.
So how demoralizing was it really?
Good point. They did bench Stevenson too, so he's benched today.
Well, and
they should.
And
dancing
they
around
should,
like
right?
an idiot and then going, oh.
Bears getting 2 points, headed to Arizona. Who you got, Sterls?
Oh, I'm going with the Cardinals here. Man, the Cardinals offense is good. I like Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. here, man. But the Bears, I mean, you can't completely count them out. I mean, they are improving. Their defense is ranked 5th in the league, so that defense is legit. They're just inconsistent is the problem. So at home, I'm going to take the home favorite here. And what's the spread? 2 points, 1.5, 2 points. Yeah. Give me the Cardinals.
David?
I'm looking at these injury reports. Looks like the Bears are going to have some issues on the offensive line. They've got a tight end who's potentially out, a bunch of offensive linemen who are questionable or out, and Jaquan Brisker, their defensive back, and Kyler Gordon is questionable. So that's a lot of injuries on the O-line and a couple on the defense. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Arizona. I think it's my second time going with Arizona this year. I don't love it, but give me Arizona -2.
God damn it! I don't want us all to pick the same thing again.
Pick the Bears, you coward.
These teams are like really close. I mean,
really
against
close.
The spread, 5-3 Cardinals, 5-2 with the Bears.
I can't talk myself into the Bears. I can't. And I like them too. Sterls and I both big fans of Roma Dunze as we went through the draft process. I think their defense is really good. Of course, all three of us big fans of Tremaine Edmonds. But and the Cardinals have kind of been my team throughout the early going here that I think is better than other people do. And I've made some money betting that. So I'm going to take the Cardinals here. The 2 points doesn't scare me. I do think it's like a field goal game, but the 2 point spread doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to skip the next one. We're going to save that one for last of the afternoon games. We'll go to LA versus Seattle. Listen, all 4 teams in this NFC West, we just talked about the Cardinals. All 4 teams in this NFC West still in it. I mean, you're 4-4 across the board, except for the Rams, who are 3-4, and getting healthier. Don't necessarily think that the team that you saw earlier in the season for these Los Angeles Rams is the same team that you're going to see in the second half of the season here. Puka Nacua has had a couple good games coming back. Cooper Kupp is back. So some weapons finally for Matt Stafford as they head up to Seattle. They're minus 1.5 favored going into Seattle. David, who you got here?
DK Metcalf still out. Lucas Abrams, their starting tackle, out.
It flashed across the screen. Micah Parsons out. Trayvon Diggs in for the Cowboys. So
Trayvon's in. Nice.
With a torn calf? Wow, partially torn calf. That's impressive.
Wrap that son bitch up. So with DK Metcalf out, that Seahawks team doesn't scare me on offense, and the defense is not the same as it used to be. Rams have been an ascending team. It looks like they've got a couple injuries, including their punter. Ethan Evans is out with an illness. I don't think they're going to punt much. I think Puka is going to have a game. I think they're going to be fine. So give me the Rams.
Minus 1.5. Sterls, who you got?
Oh, I'm taking the Rams here, and it's minus 1.5 on my sports book. So give me the Rams.
I'm gonna take the Seahawks.
Whoa! You think they got scared straight last week?
Yeah, I think it's a team that got embarrassed last week in front of its home fans, having to talk about how their stadium got taken over. I think it's going to be loud. I think it's going to be hostile, and yeah, man. So, and I don't even need the 1.5. Don't even need it. Give me Seahawks to win here. Give me Seahawks money line.
Seahawks money line. Okay.
I think McDonald can do enough to mitigate the return of those two wide receivers. And I think they're going to get back to running the ball a little bit. Kenneth Walker was a ghost in that Bills game last week, and you can't have that. He's one of the best players on their team, especially when DK Metcalf is out. So, yeah, give me the Seahawks straight up here. I'll take a money line plus 105. Little extra
problem. That's been a problem for them all season, is the getting Kenneth Walker involved enough in the offense. So,
which shouldn't ever be a problem, right?
Right. Right.
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
It's crazy.
Especially with the weather that they had last week.
Mm-hmm.
But listen,
seemed like the easy answer.
I think game script had a lot to do with that. I think they had those mess ups at the goal line and started pressing and feeling like they needed to press. So,
and they did.
So I think they get back to it a little bit here, run the ball, and beat the Rams. All right, game of the day, maybe, probably, yes, definitely, game of the day,
Yes.
and certainly game of the afternoon. Detroit at Green Bay, a wet, soggy day up at Lambeau Field. Lions minus 2.5 headed up to Green Bay. They have been mercilessly pounding everybody. So, David, who you got?
You know, I've been riding with the Packers almost all season. I think they're a solid team. I think they built a good young core, especially on offense. I think the defense is solid. But I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL. And it's less than a field goal, minus 2.5 for the Lions. I'm taking the Lions.
Sterls?
Oh, man. Just because everybody is going with the Lions, I mean, there's something about Lambeau Field with inclement weather that makes me pick the Packers in this one. And Jordan Love is, hey, man, he's playing. He hasn't been fantastic, but I think he's playing good enough. So give me the Packers here, plus 2.5.
Home dog.
Not everybody, because your dog is taking the Packers here. I like the Lions a lot, but they're not going to go 16-1. And this just feels like a spot where they could drop one here. I'm sure if we told,
it would be here.
Yeah, I'm sure if we told David that he would be alone taking the Lions, be a little party for him, as a chance to make
it
the
definitely
others
means I'm winning.
of us look stupid. But yeah, I mean, there's, like you said, it's not that the Lions can't run the ball, but there's something about we're going to take the dome team and put them outside.
Yeah.
And take a good quarterback in Jared Goff and put him in the elements and make him try to win a game. I don't know.
In a division game too. So these games
Right.
are typically a lot closer than, so.
And that's why this is going to be the best game of the afternoon.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I've heard it's just going to be rain up there, not snow. But it'll be interesting to see how it affects the game. So give me the Packers. Give me the 2.5 points. I think 2.5 is actually a lot. I would have expected it to be maybe 1 or a pick 'em. So give me the 2.5 points. Give me the Packers in what I think is going to be a really interesting game this afternoon, which means, of course, that it's going to be 34-10 and over in the first quarter. All right. Your evening game on NBC. Listen, it's nice to not have the same like 4 teams every week, but I just don't know if this one's overly inspiring. The Indianapolis Colts travel to Minnesota to take on the 5-2 Vikings. Colts just kind of hanging around in the playoff picture, have benched their quarterback, Anthony Richardson, supposedly for tapping out of a game. And the Vikings, I don't know, man. I just have a hard time believing in the Vikings. Colts getting 5.5 points on Sunday Night Football, headed to Minnesota. Who you got, Strohs?
I'm taking the Vikings, man. Plus what, 5.5?
Minus
5.5. -5 on this sports book here. I mean, listen, I appreciate Joe Flacco and what he's been able to do with the last few seasons, but I do think that the Vikings, I mean, they're just a much better football team, and it's pretty much, I mean, they can beat them by a touchdown. Like, I'll take that all day. Most of the money on the spread is going with the Vikings.
David?
Joe Flacco-led Colts. Going to give that team a little boost, much like we've seen with a few other teams. You have a better chance of winning with Joe Flacco than you did with your benched second-year quarterback. I'm going with the Colts. Give me that 5.5.
You and me both, big dog. Let's just take a moment and ask this question. Who would you rather have a quarterback, Sam Darnold or Joe Flacco?
Sam Darnold.
Go on.
He's better. I mean, there's not. I mean, at least
top end
Sam
talent
Darnold
and experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and better weapons. Like, he's in a much better offensive coordinator. He's got an offensive coordinator, a head coach that are really freaking good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Better defense to support him.
Don't sleep on Shane Steichen here. He deserves a little bit of respect.
No. Yeah, Shane Steichen's good. I just don't think he has the Anthony Richardson, the physical traits and the type of quarterback Shane Steichen likes. He doesn't have that right now because Anthony Richardson is just not it. He can't process the defense. So you got Joe Flacco. I think he's good enough to keep the offense going and so forth, but they just don't. I don't think they have the horses on the outside to really,
I'm just interested in your Sam Darnold take. I mean,
no, I'm not a big Sam Darnold fan. Don't get me wrong, but
sounds like you are.
But if it's against Joe Flacco, and you're telling me Kevin O'Connell's running my offense, come on, dog. Come on, man.
So, all right. So the Rams game was.
I mean, he had a bad game.
Okay.
He had a bad game.
Okay. David, who you taking? Flacco or Darnold?
I'm going to take Flacco. Experience. He's still got an arm. It's not what it used to be when he was in Baltimore, but he's got the experience. I think he's a consistent quarterback. Darnold is younger. Yeah, he has better weapons, but if I had to pick, if you said, hey, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen goes down, you got to pick one of these two, I'm probably going to go Flacco.
All right, interesting. All right, last game of the weekend, or really, I guess, first game of the week. Buccaneers at Chiefs. Buccaneers 4-4 going into this with a decimated wide receiver room. I think maybe Mike Evans is he are we maybe on him playing? But
I don't know.
Not looking good.
Yeah, that is the general story. Has been for a couple weeks here, and yet still able to beat game. You know what I mean? And credit to
Evans
Baker
is out.
Credit to Baker Mayfield for that, even without his guys. I mean, they still were game. 4-4, headed to the Chiefs, undefeated. Chiefs -9. Who you got here, David?
The Chiefs this year just don't. They don't have the juice for me, and against the spread, 9 points. I know without Evans, it's tough, and you probably be smart to pick the Chiefs. Honestly, I don't want them losing 2 games in a row before we play them. So if the Broncos can take them next week, I'm going to go with the Chiefs now, but that 9 points is really, really tempting to bet the Buccaneers.
Sturls?
I'm going with the Chiefs. My only question is who is Mayfield throwing to? No Godwin, no Evans. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a Spags game, if anything.
Cameron Brate, is that right?
Yeah. Like I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up, even if this is a 19-10 game, or 20-10 game. I just don't think, I mean, listen, the Buccaneers they don't run the ball enough. And I don't know if they're going to start leaning on that more now that they don't have all those receivers. So
they're going to have to.
Well, we say that, but look who their head coach is. So yeah, give me the Chiefs -9 on this one.
It's amazing how much we all
Tampa
hate
Bay.
Dude,
Mike Evans out. Sterling
bad.
Shepard questionable. Chris Godwin IR. Cameron Johnson IR. Jalen McMillan questionable. So they have Ryan Miller, Trey Palmer, and Raheem Jarrett, as well as Cade Otton. That's not inspiring.
I will take those
confidence.
3 wide receivers to help the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cover. Listen,
do it.
The Chiefs never cover. I mean, it is one of the constants in the NFL world over the last couple of years. The Chiefs are going to win, and they are not going to cover. And I think that's exactly what will happen.
And that's why the Chiefs will cover.
You're welcome. 2 of you.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. Listen, Baker Mayfield under the lights. Just the dude has this weird sense of rising to the moment over and over again. Even if you don't like him, you have to admit that the dude rises to the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was when he walked on at Texas Tech or transferred to Oklahoma or got drafted and led the Browns to the play. I mean, like, what the fuck are we talking about, dog? This guy led the Browns to the playoffs and won a game with them, and then took the Chiefs to the wire that year. So this guy just has a way of rising to the moment, and I think that matters. The guy on the other side does too, don't get me wrong, but the guy on the other side has gotten so comfortable with winning that he doesn't care if it's by 2 points or 9 points. He doesn't give a shit. He just wants to walk away with the victory, and he knows he can do it. So that is why the Chiefs never cover, and I don't think that they will this game either. Give me the Buccaneers. Give me the 9 points, and I hopefully will make so much money this weekend that I hedge the shit out of that game and middle it as we as we get into the game midway through. All right, fellas. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Trade deadline.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Tuesday. It'll be before we hit our next note here.
Trade deadline and the election.
I have a juicy rumor that I'll talk to you guys backstage. Get off here. I can't publicly say it.
You can't do that to our people.
Well, if it comes to fruition, they can, like, if you listen to the show, and when we come back next week, I'll say, well, that was the juicy rumor. So
no, you can't.
I got to. Let's just say, I'll say this. I'll say this.
Stop. Give us a position.
Wide receiver.
Okay. Wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You know, if Sterles is talking about it, it's wide receiver with somebody specific. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Not the Bills, though. But an alleged contender.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right. I also think guys like Clowney, guys like Chase Young, I think you see a couple more moves.
Aaron Browning.
Oh, man.
Aaron Browning would be tough. Oh, there you go. Breaking news. Amari Cooper, inactive versus the Dolphins.
What?
Check those birds, dog. You better check those birds.
It's probably a game time decision, bro. That's
it's
crazy.
Breaking news on ESPN right now. Adam Schefter is reporting.
So the risk there, like, okay, so maybe he got out. I have to check and see. So maybe he got out there and was like, yeah, I can't do it.
Tell me more about Keon Coleman and his over/under. All right.
70.
Now it's
over. Give me the
Dalton
over.
Kincaid game.
Okay. Anyways, I hate to say I told you so. All right, so okay, we've got Brian Robinson Jr. also inactive. Amari Cooper inactive. Trayvon Diggs is active. And then the rest of the notable players who we were waiting on injury news are all afternoon guys. So, all right, guys, love y'all. We will be back after a seismic shift in what we are as a country, as the trade deadline will pass on Tuesday. And that's clearly what we're talking about. So make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you pay attention to the trade deadline while all the election stuff is going on. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Go Bills. I think you guys got anything else?
Nah, go Bills.
All right,
Go
man.
Bills.
We will be. Hey,
no,
take it easy.
Jumping the gun.
Hey, yeah,
Jumping the gun.
take it
Wrap
easy.
it up.
We'll be back here next week, 8:00 Mountain, 10:00 Eastern to do your NFL pregame show. Sterls and I back Tuesday nights to do some Bills talk, some Broncos talk on my channels as well. Sterls, what do you got for this week?
No, just getting back on the saddle here with our Bill shows, and we'll talk some draft this week, I'm sure. So stay tuned.
Has he this week?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You want to pump?
I took the whole week
no.
off.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You
we'll be doing the Hezzy on Wednesday night.
You don't want to promote your stuff? Okay, cool.
Okay.
We're out of here. Thanks everybody for coming. We appreciate you.
All right.
Everybody has a wonderful week. Go Bills. And
Go
we'll talk to
Bills.
you next week.
All right.
Love you, boys.